Welcome back, folks, to the WP-Tonic show. This is episode 470, and it's a special show. We decided because of the uniqueness of Spencer's product that you would get the more value from watching this if we could do an actual live run through of building a modern funnel using Launchflows. So we decided that we would do a special video, which obviously you're watching right now, rather than the interview. If you want to see both, you can, or listen to the interview, I should say, you can go to iTunes, or there's also a version on the website, the WP-Tonic website, and you can listen to it there as well. But on this, we're going to do a full live to show you the full power of Launchflows. Spencer, how does that sound?
Love it. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Why not?
Yes, let's show ourselves. Right. So how are we going to progress? How do you obviously Launchflow's been in rapid development. You've been adding more functionality as we speak. As we recorded the show last week, I would imagine you're building out more functionality. So how, before we go in and you share your screen and we go through a build out, how's it been going on in general?
Yeah. So, I mean, for anybody who doesn't know, I've been with WordPress since it started, but over the course of the last 13 plus years, I've been very fortunate to build relationships with all the people who make the products, the authors, and become one of them myself. But my real passion comes from interacting with people in selling and marketing. So along the way, I helped build products and things for people who are freelance web designers. Most recently, though, the reason for this backstory is that WordPress has really matured into a standalone platform for anybody who has an online business. And as part of that, there's about 4 or 5 components, one of which is absolutely your transactional engine, which I'm going to just call it WooCommerce, that allows you to do the kind of things that other platforms now are very well known for being an all-in-one shop. Things like ClickFunnels or Kartra or Kajabi and so forth. But the benefit of working with WordPress has always been you own it, you control it, you have a box, and because it's open source, there's literally an infinite number of Lego blocks that you or somebody working for you can snap on. However, there's been lots of different ways to make things happen, but very few people have ever worked out, how can I make the sales funnels themselves look like I want, be as easy as my mom using the remote control to set up, and work with the 4 or 5 other components just out of the box. So that's what my pain point solution has been based upon. Working with the literally thousands of people, being able to figure out a way to take the core components that we use today, including WooCommerce, and glue them together so that anybody can just literally select an existing sales funnel they like or drag and drop one together in a couple minutes using WooCommerce, your favorite page builder, i.e. Elementor, Divi, and so forth, and the other components that you'd probably want to use. WP-Fussion with your favorite CRM, an LMS like Lifter and LearnDash, gamification, affiliates, just a small number of things, super powerful, and you don't have to rent it from ClickFunnels or Kajabi or Kartra. You can own it, control it, pay a small amount every year for just your plugin authors, and you're good to go. So that's the foundation for it. And it's been going really well because we're really in that era where it's very hard for a small business or any startup not to have the latest, greatest looking and functioning sales funnel. So it's really an imperative.
That's great news. So how are we going to approach this? Are you going to tick over the screen and then we're just going to go through?
Well, yeah, let's do this. I have 2 show and tells. I've got the basic idea of what these sales funnels are, because in case somebody doesn't even know what the heck that means, real quick. And then I'll just show you an example of what's the before and after difference of using
let's do that, what a funnel is, and then the four to five bits of software, WordPress plugin software that is required to build out what you're showing after we discuss it. How does that sound?
Perfect. You want me to share my screen here?
Can do.
Okay, great. And let me just close a couple things in the background to make sure that we don't have stuff sometimes pops through the video, I know.
Yes, these pop-outs, they can be embarrassing, can't they?
It's unfortunate. Not so much embarrassing, just more like annoying
because
the mouse doesn't work. Yeah. I found that with layers. Okay, so first of all, for anybody who's interested, I'm from Launchflows.com. I have an experience working with folks, though, on another brand, WP Launchify, which is where I am oftentimes sent people from the other plugins. So if you're a plugin author and your clients use this kind of stuff, oftentimes you'll send the client over to me to have a free phone call, and I help people, you know, essentially discover what it is that's wrong with what they're doing and how they can easily do it themselves. Sometimes people want more help, and we offer that as well. But Launchflows is the brand that we're working on with the sales funnel. Now, as a basic premise, in today's world, the number one thing that people do not have enough of is what? Time. Nobody can afford to waste their time. Both you as the person who has the website and your prospective customers, you can't afford to have this dance of like, let me show you a million things that are unrelated to the pain you're suffering. So in order to be most efficient and sell the most, your clients and prospective clients will really appreciate if you know enough about them and their preferences to personalize their journey through the things that you have, which could solve their pain. It's kind of like if you had a migraine headache and you went to the pharmacy and that pharmacist recognized you immediately and said, Jonathan, here's the pill you need. It's $5. That's a heck of a lot more powerful and useful than they walk in the pharmacy and they go, oh, hello, stranger. Can you give me your email? And we'll send you 65 drip emails in the future that explain what pain is. So what we want to do is make sure that the first thing we do on any sales funnel is get the minimum we need from a person in order to stay in a relationship. And that, of course, is an email. But unlike the old-fashioned, just give me an email, whatever, we want to make sure that it continues from that moment so they take advantage of that situation. So we always start with something that's a lead magnet. This could be a piece of information, or it could be a taste of the actual product. But it's a trade-off, like we really just suggested, between if you give me your email, you're going to get instant satisfaction. What a sales funnel does best is it'll take a first name, a last name, has to take an email, and in some cases with Launchflows, we'll take their phone number. Now, it can store that in a cookie, or it can do something immediately. What we do with Launchflows is make it easy that you can store it right there on the spot with a session cookie, and then we say, okay, go get your thing. So we're storing the data that somebody's giving us for a moment. The next thing you'll typically do is you'll deliver the lead magnet. That could be a video, it could be a PDF, could be whatever. But in the process of doing so, you're going to make a main offer. You're going to say, hey, since you said you're willing to trade your email, I really have the thing you need, the pain solution you want. And it's this main product. Now, for some big ticket items, like thousands of dollars, or maybe even hundreds and hundreds of dollars, you may not want to jump right into that relationship that quick. You know, you might want to have a taste, like a cup of coffee date. So you might not make the primary offer really big. It might be what we call a tripwire, something very small, $7 to $10, just to figure out if they're willing to go out on a date with you. What we do for that offer in a sales funnel is we automatically convey the information. So the field's filled out, but we say, look, here's this thing that you can get right now that will give you a flavor or the actual solution you need for the pain point. When somebody clicks it, a sales funnel isn't like a dumb old shopping cart. It just doesn't pour the stuff in and that's it. Instead, what it gives you is the ability to give somebody a follow-up choice, which is often either an order bump or an upsell. Now, the difference between an order bump and an upsell can be thought of like either you're replacing the thing that was the first offer, or you're adding to the thing. An order bump is adding to the thing. You're saying, hey, you bought a camera, you can get the film and the batteries and the strap. You know, you just see this on Amazon all the time. An upsell would be, well, you bought the cheap camera, or you're going to buy the cheap camera, but maybe you want the super deluxe camera instead. Either way, the bottom line is that you end up with a situation where with the sales funnel, somebody can be given a fluid process. And again, I refer to things like Amazon because they're the kings of doing this. This is all possible with WooCommerce. At the end of the day, if I zoom out here, from the point where you, let's say, offer them an order.
So basically, you're offering them the flexibility with the system that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
they've got the flexibility if they're a non-e-commerce user, or if they have an e-commerce or WooCommerce actual store. Your product, your plugin, and the other plugins that we're going to be showing can deal with both scenarios.
Yeah, and the reason that is correct, but there's a reason for it. Out of the box, WooCommerce offers a one-size-fits-all experience. With out of the box WooCommerce, what happens is you offer somebody typically a grid of products, right? A shop. And somebody picks one of the products and they're taken to what's called a single product page, where there's all kinds of other distraction stuff. They say, oh, maybe I want that product. They add it to their cart. Then there's a cart page where it's literally like a basket of stuff. Then they say, I want to check out, and they go to a checkout page. And on the checkout page, there's some possibilities of offering them related things, but essentially there's 5 standard steps at any which time somebody will grow weary, bored, confused, distracted. A sales funnel shows them one thing at a time, when they need to see it, with specific yes or no, take it or leave it. And as a result, it's like dealing with kindergartners on a field trip. We're getting on the bus now. We're eating our lunch now. We're going to the park now. And in doing so, you can still give people forks in the road. What my product does is essentially create unlimited, easy to build sales funnels for normal people to do. But at the same time, it gives you the ability, and this is the key part. With WooCommerce, the actual checkout components are all spit out into a sort of one-size-fits-all IRS tax form. In other words, it spits it out into a 2-column layout, take it or leave it. What Launchflows does best is it breaks out any piece of the actual checkout process or the featured products and allows you to drag and drop them into whatever your favorite page builder's layout is, which means you can not only make it act the way you want, you can make it look beautiful. But the real benefit beyond those two is that it allows us to save these sales funnels in templates. So for example, let's just use Elementor. Elementor's 4 million users, one of the most popular, if not the most popular page builder. Anybody with design skills can take any Elementor existing components and simply drop the necessary shortcodes into the design parts of things, save it, and then share it, sell it, reuse it again, so that if you have multiple clients, you actually don't have to build these sales funnels. You could just go, oh, look at this amazing layout that somebody already did that looks just like, one of my favorite companies. And I think that's ultimately where Launchflows' benefit will be. Well, even though you could build lots of things from Legos, from scratch, most people just get a kit, right? Oh, I want the Death Star. I want the whatever. And I think that's where this ultimately becomes the useful tool. And I'm going to show you how that works if you want right now. So let's put this down out of the way. So let's start out with a basic example.
Oh, before we do that, what are the 4 to 5 separate bits of software that works with Launchflow to be able to build something like this?
Right. So absolutely. What you want to have is of course, WordPress, WooCommerce. Now, WooCommerce is often misunderstood. People say to me, oh, I want to use an EDD or Thrive card or something. I'm not saying that you can't do that, but I am saying 2 things. One is Launchflows is made specifically for WooCommerce. So that's an absolute. The reason for that is that while I love Pippin and EDD and all the rest of that, that's a very specific product that has only a fractional number of users and potential connectivity things as WooCommerce. Thrive is even more so segmented into a smaller audience. So you don't have to be committed to WooCommerce for a lot of stuff in order to use it for sales funnels. I don't think you'd want to use it with EDD or Thrive, but if you've otherwise worried about it, WooCommerce is free. It connects to about 1 trillion other plugins in the WordPress ecosystem, and it's run and owned by Automatic. So as far as I'm concerned, it's about as core as WordPress itself. You're gonna wanna use WP-Fussion for marketing automation. That is a plugin that connects your WordPress WooCommerce site to your favorite CRM, or uses a built-in plugin like Adrian's GroundHogg.
Yes.
The reason you wanna do that is because in the process of moving somebody, the kids, through the flow, you can give them tags that keep track of what they've done. Oh, yes. Bobby
I just want to clarify that for our viewers. What Spencer is talking about with WP-Fussion is if you're using an external platform for your marketing, for your drip campaigns and other functionality connected to a modern CRM, WP-Fussion allows WordPress to communicate, example with MailChimp or with the more recommended CRM active campaign, or you can still use WP-Fussion with the best in breed internal CRM, which in my opinion is GroundHogg at the present moment, and probably will stay that way with the amount of work my co-host Adrian is doing on the system, which is quite breathtaking in some ways. What do you reckon? Am I correct about that, Spencer?
Correct. We're at the stage right now where WordPress has only got one core component that's still, at the moment, because I know Adrian's really getting some leverage on this, but at the moment, there's either external CRM, and again, I'm using the term marketing automation platform. I'm using a CRM as a short code for it. ActiveCampaign, Drip, Entreport, Infusionsoft, Salesforce. There's 39 to 40 CRMs that are all compatible. WP-Fussion connects your WordPress ecosystem to that one so that you can keep track of users when they're doing the things you're directing them to do. You give them tags so that you know immediately how to filter who's doing what, show them what you need them to show them, and protect content that they're not supposed to see. That eliminates the need, by the way, for anybody to use a separate membership plugin in most cases. So you've got WordPress, WooCommerce, WP-Fussion, your favorite CRM, internal like GroundHogg or external like ActiveCampaign. You're going to want to use your favorite free theme. Now, that's one of the things that's changed over the years. In today's world, I just suggest use Astra or Hello theme. The theme should not be doing a lot of specialized things at all, with one exception. There are many people who build community-first sites. And for that, I can definitely recommend Michael Eisen's got the Buddy Boss theme of plugins, which are very specialized. If you are not doing social community first and foremost, then just use something like Astra or Hello, because the theme should be really just a whiteboard that you hang magnets and draw stuff on. It shouldn't do the stuff as before.
And I think the reason why Spencer's recommending those two options is that the way I look at this, and I just want to see if I get Spencer agreement with this, is with the Astra, you got the facility, especially if you buy Astra Pro, which I recommend you should do, is that you get a very extensive library of what they call one-click sites, which are themes that have been built, which then you can semi-customize to your heart's content. And I think with Astra version 2.030, they recently announced that the library is going to be has been extended. Plus, you have the facility just to take one page and use it as a landing page. Now, with the other option, Hello, I think that's really aimed at more the graphic designer that wants to build out something for a client that's totally customized, and they don't really need the support of a kind of pre-designed theme, do they? Would you agree with that, Spencer?
I agree to a certain extent, but I want to clarify something just to be sure, because this is actually quite important in the way that we layer these components. What I personally prefer about Astra, which you did reference, and also to some extent Hello theme, is that they stay out of your way. So whether you go with the free or go with the pro makes no difference to me, because what you're ultimately using it for are those limited things it does really well, which is they're both very lightweight, very fast, and they don't jam a bunch of stuff in that you have to fix later when you're really doing your design with your favorite page builder. So in the past, it used to be custom themes with functions and all kinds of crazy design. Then it moved to the, okay, well, it's just sort of like a layer and you can do pre-made templates. That's where I disagree with what you're saying, because we're not going to actually use the templates here of Astra. But we do like the fact that Astra gives you one-click ability, as you said, to make a canvas. The canvas is upon which, the thing upon which we're going to hang, wait for it, the page builder. The page builder becomes essentially the key tool, the first line tool of a modern online business. Why? Because when you use the, I'm going to just say Elementor, and just know when I'm saying this, that you could go with Divi, you could go with Beaver Builder, you could even go with Thrive and so forth. But really Elementor, also free. If you go with Elementor using Launchflows and Astra, you have a benefit that every single thing I do and show and every resulting template is just download and install it, you're ready to go. You don't have to like remake it or just duplicate it or copy it. And because they're free, there's no cost involved in Astra free, Elementor free. So Elementor, or your page builder, is the layer upon which you're going to do some key things. Number one, that is where you can have your design sandwich, your top piece of bread header, your bottom piece of bread footer, your sidebar pickle, and then the meat and potatoes is your content area. That's the whatever the sandwich is made out of. If you want, you can use Elementor to create a theme, custom header, custom footer, custom sidebar, or none at all. The content area is the canvas, either way, upon which most of your sales funnel stuff will be built. And there's one
the only reason why I mentioned this is that I think there's probably 2 to 3 very I'm trying to find the right word here, different groups of people that are probably going to be watching this video, Spencer.
Absolutely.
There's going to be the small business entrepreneur that wants to set up, has an idea, that wants to set up online business and knows that they need modern lead funnels, right? Then there's probably the WordPress consultant type that wants the ability to rapidly build prototype funnels for their existing clientele or new clientele. And thirdly, there's the graphic design individual that builds WordPress websites for individuals that want a internal WordPress modern funnel building system that they can recommend to their clients. And the reason I mentioned Astra and their one-click websites is the small business owner probably hasn't got the eye or the time to build out a total look from scratch. They would probably find that a little bit intimidating.
But you don't have to, let me interrupt you for that. You don't have to do that. Elementor is larger than Astra in that regard. So if a person wanted to just pick it, there's 4 million active users on Elementor. There are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of ready to go, free or paid Elementor components or templates. Now, are they the whole website though? Yeah, just to be fair though, I don't care. If you prefer the design components of Astra, you absolutely can use it. Here's why. Because like a sandwich, there's the top and bottom pieces of bread, the sidebar pickle, then there's the content. Many people already have an existing theme that's not Astra or Elementor, and they just want to use that. That's fine. All you do is on your sales pages, your sales funnel pages, you just leave the middle part open and you use your favorite page builders. So quite honestly, that's a great solution for retrofitting it. What if a business already has a website that's been built 10 years ago? No problem. Just leave the header and footer alone, or on certain sales pages, it is useful. You don't want people to be able to navigate away on many sales pages. So on those, you just make the canvas the whole screen and you just use your logo, but you don't give somebody a place to escape without clicking your buttons. You control the kids from jumping out the side of the window of the bus, right? Those things have locks on them for a reason.
So hopefully you haven't confused people. So let's move on. So we got WordPress, we've got WooCommerce, we've got Astra, we've got Elementor, and then we've got Launchflows, and they're the things that you need. And you can buy, you apart from Launchflows, you can access all the rest of the software and be able to build a modern funnel without having to pay for the pro versions of those.
Right. So let's review the cost structure, because WP-Fussion was the other one. But WP-Fussion, I actually do support for Jack, the author, and he's got a light version as well. So there's a free version that you could get started to do the basics. So WordPress free, WooCommerce free, Astra free, WP-Fussion Lite free, Elementor free. Launchflows is $197 as we speak. It will probably be priced at $247 ultimately, but I started at $0 and it worked its way off. And this is how I build these kinds of products. I've done this before with 1WD-TV. We worked our way up, and then the early adopters are rewarded who jump on board because, you know, their lifetime price guarantee. So compare that to what you would pay for at ClickFunnels, Russell Brunson. Russell is the most amazing marketer ever. His content is incredible. The marketing advice is spot on. But the technology of ClickFunnels is $300 a month, and it is far below anything you could do in WordPress and WooCommerce with the things we're talking about. And you do not own and control it. So you are literally indebted to them for the next whatever number of years your business runs at $3,600 a year versus $197 a year for what I just described. Even if you paid for the Pro WP-Fusion, $550, $600 a year versus $3,600, and you own and control everything. And also, like obviously WP-Tonic, we specialize in learning management systems and helping you build those out. But one of the missing steps, and this is why I'm so excited that Spencer did this, and also with GroundHogg appearing at similar times in some ways, is it was definitely a very crucial area that was really missing in the WordPress ecosystem, to be able to build out modern funnels and also do modern CRM. And with WP-Fusion, with GroundHogg, and with Launchflows, we now have the situation where you can build something in WordPress that's better than Kajabi or some of the other SaaS-based learning management systems. Would you agree with that now, Spencer? Well, of course, yeah. But the bigger thing, too, is that one of the problems that I solve for people very often, and again, this had to do with the CRMs, but somebody who doesn't have the information to know where all the parts go, they get into this Frankenstein monster world where I'm on this platform trying to do this, and then I've got this thing over here and a third-party service over there, and they're trying to just wire this monster together. The number one benefit, literally, is if you went to the grocery store in the old days and wanted a dinner real quick, you'd buy what we call a TV dinner. It just was a metal tray with 5 slots, and you had your main course, your fruit, your vegetable, your dessert, whatever. You just bought it, put it in the oven, and you ate. Well, in the same way, we see that today with lots of other membership economy sites. WooCommerce, WordPress, these components are in WordPress. If you stay in this platform, everything in your entire business website will look and act the same as your sales funnel. And all your customers will be in one place. So all your marketing, your sales, your follow-up, your retention, you're all in one spot, and you own and control it, which is a huge benefit. So that's the number one thing that it solves, is it prevents the excuses. Why do I have to go elsewhere? Everything you need is right here in the TV dinner. So, ta-da.
Yeah. Rightio, I think I've... so shall we go on and now show the listeners how to build one of these, Spencer?
Yeah, well, let me, I'll show you how simple it is component-wise. And what I'm going to do here is I know this like screen share thing just raises the bar. I can never get to the tabs. So let me do that. Sorry. I'm not sure why it does it. But, okay. So I had a request the other day for a very simple example of what we call a cash on delivery store. Now, that's not necessarily what everybody has, but this is an example that shows a lot of the components of what you can do with Launchflows. Really simple. The idea would be in Europe, you can, let's say, go to a homepage, go to a landing page, find product you want, and say, oh, I want that, and I want to reserve it. But in the process, it uses all these various components that are otherwise really tricky to bring together out of the box if you don't do code. With Launchflows, there's no coding involved. Okay, so let's walk through this particular example. And this is just one example. It's using Astra and Elementor. No big deal design-wise, but it's a nice look and feel. So we've got the ability to use Elementor's pop-up to take in a lead magnet form, right? So, you know, John Denwood has come and he wants this pair of shoes. So John at denwood.com. And if you want, you know, his phone number in Nevada is, I'm sure, 55512. He wants to reserve the shoes. The pop-up takes the person's info, stores it temporarily, so it's available, and now makes the primary offer. I was playing with this, so it says 2 instead of 1. But the point is, here's the first product ready for John to review. If he wants to, he can go ahead and check out, but I want to offer him something instead. So I click and I give him an opportunity. You know what? Switch out for those jazzy kicks, the 250 shoes, because you know you'd look good in Converse, John. And you can decide, yes, I want them, no, I don't. If you want them, no problem. That will modify the offer, bring you back to the place up at the top. And now this was an upsell. This was an order bump. So it added it to it. You could do it as an upsell where it would swap it out. This ends up being something that when you're ready to check out, I'll just do this manually, you just end up going to the thank you page. The thank you page is something that would have information that would be pertinent to you. And it's all custom design, as I'll show you, using just the Elementor stuff. Oh, hey, I know I'm doing this as an example. I pre-made the page, but hey, Spence or John, here's what you ordered, and here's where you can pick it up, and you can go to your account area and everything else. Now, in the scope of doing this, there's only 2 things that people need to build, which is really simple. You simply use WooCommerce to make your 2 products, right? So in this quick example, I had the primary product, which was the first pair of shoes. I had the upsell offer or the order bump offer, which was the, you know, cool kicks. I then want to create at least 1 checkout page, and that's a standard page using just WooCommerce. But as you noticed, I was also able to offer that really cool panel, you know, on the page, which could also be done by way of a pop-up. When I originally signed up on the homepage, I also had that take my intake stuff. These pages are all just here made with standard out-of-the-box WordPress, right? The cool thing is when you want to make a custom layout, you use the built-in capability of Elementor. So as I'll show you in a second, I just saved the templates that I used inside those pages in my page builder. And let me sort them out here. I'll just filter out the ones that were for this cash on delivery layout. So I made these 4 things. I made the checkout layout. I made the original pop-up that took the form information. I made what could be the pop-up of the same offer that was, you know, slid down the page. I have it in both versions. And there's really not that much to those. Those are just regular design pages. What's the easy part about modifying the checkout is how Launchflows takes those pieces of the standard WooCommerce things and changes them. So let me just show you the sort of before and after. If we go to the page that was the normal checkout page, and let's view this in a new window. The layout itself has the bits and bobs that we need because of the template. If I look at the page itself, it's just an ordinary page, but it has 3 things that are important to make it work with Launchflows. Number 1 is I gave it a unique URL. And this is really the most helpful part. I can have an unlimited number of custom checkout pages for all kinds of purposes. It could be for various sales, or it could be for, you know, days of the week or different products, or I could just have one that catches everything. You give it the unique name, you give it the unique URL, and that is what you're going to program into any of the products that you want to be used in that checkout. Number 2 is all you need to do is tell it to use the standard WooCommerce checkout. So you just put the shortcode in from WooCommerce, and if you forget how to do it, we make it convenient. It's just right here. Third, and this is how it all works, the magic. The magic is in the upper right corner, we say, well, this boring plain Jane checkout page, we want to use this custom layout with. We don't want it to look like a normal IRS tax form. And so we put the template ID of the custom layout that we've designed, which I'll show you in a second. But just let me show you what happens. If we get rid of that and we show what the plain Jane page looks like, I think most people will know, if you've ever seen WooCommerce, it's going to look like an IRS tax form. There you go. So this is the before. And then we put the template in that we want to use with our favorite page builder. And that, by the way, that template could be something that you just beg, borrow, and steal from somebody else that's creating it. When we refresh the page with the template, you get the after, which is like whatever you want it to be with the extra parts and bits and bobs. Okay, so the template itself, that's where the drag and drop magic happens. Here in those templates from Elementor, I was just showing you this custom checkout layout. Let's take a look at it. If we look at it, anybody who's used Elementor is familiar with how Elementor works, just like Divi. You have your kind of like widgets and stuff, and then you have your, sections and rows. You can drag stuff. So what we use is a special shortcode called the Launchflows shortcode, or you could just type it by hand. If you use the Launchflows shortcode, you simply drag it over wherever you need the component to show up or not show up. And then you choose from our index list of components. Now at Launchflows, we've indexed these so you know really simply what everything does. But for most of the components, it'll preview it anyway, so you'll see once you've dropped it in place. So for example, just to save time, what I did here is I put some regular text, then I put in the review order part. That's what shows what's in your cart. I put in the billing section, that's your first name, last name, email. I didn't want to show people that busy, subtotal stuff because like it's a free order, it's COD. So I hid it. I put the short code in, but then I used what the page builder provides me, which is the ability to hide certain things on different screens. So I just said, no, don't show it on any size screen. Just basically get rid of it. Then I put in the payment section, which is you're going to use COD. In this case, you could use Stripe or PayPal or Authorize.net, whatever your payment gateway is, it's going to put that bit that takes the payment right there. Then I used a cool feature we call Launchflows custom checkout button. I'm not really thrilled with that janky one-size-fits-all button for WooCommerce checkouts. So I made my own custom button, and then I just dropped it in place, and I styled it the way I wanted it, and I assigned it this very simple ability to replace what was there. Below it, I also took care of the fact that WooCommerce out of the box puts these big notices at the top of the screen, like you forgot to use the right coupon, or you forgot your last name. And I put them below the whole checkout process. On the right side, I could have a video or some other kind of animated image. And then what I did is I did this really cool trick where the page builders allow you to have each section fill the whole screen. Because you can use smooth scroll, this button is programmed so that somebody who clicks it the first time will be taken to the panel of here's your offer, order bump or otherwise. And here I gave one of the design elements, which is just a simple choose A or B. This is the link that adds the product, or this is the link that says, no thanks, just take me back to the main checkout. Now, the products themselves, equally simple to create. The products contain all of the DNA that pieces them together. So when we created our first product, all we have to do is do really two simple things. Number one is we go ahead into the product and decide what kind of product is it. This is standard WooCommerce stuff. Could be simple, subscription, variable group, whatever. And of course, we give it the pricing and so forth. The second thing we do is go into the Launchflows tab. And this is really how simple but magical it is. We say, what is the custom checkout page that this product should be available to go to when somebody uses the custom checkout link? And so in this case, I use the URL of our page that we just designed. You can also say, after the person checks out, where does this product go take them to next? So that's the custom thank you page. We have an option here called solo checkout. That's the difference between an order bump and an upsell. A solo checkout means that this product, when it's added to the cart, will push all the other ones away, which is like an upsell. If you want it to be added on, well, it acts like an order bump or a regular shopping cart. And then when we're done with setting up these product attributes, we just go over to our Launchflows direct checkout link, copy it. This link can now be used anywhere on the internet. I can go to my Facebook group or Instagram, or I can make an advertisement. And if I use this link, no matter where somebody is in the internet, this will send that person to the custom checkout that I programmed them it to go to, which was in our case, this cash on delivery checkout. And there's the product there. If it was set as a allowed to be in the cart with other products, it will share the cart. If I set it as a solo checkout, it will push the other stuff out of the way. And so in doing this, you saw how quickly all you need to do, make a blank page, make your product or products. Tell the products if this is the checkout page they should go to or other ones, and then design, just kind of like using whimsical or otherwise, design a similar kind of a logic. You know, just figure out what do you want people to do on each of these pages, right? A regular page takes them to a checkout page, and the checkout page can offer them either a pop-up or a modal slider, and work through it. Now, just to make this even simpler, the real goal for me is not to make people build this stuff from scratch, because remember the first thing I talked about, which was if you had a migraine and you went to the pharmacy, the best pharmacist is the one that recognizes you and says, "Oh, you have a headache, John. Here's the thing." Well, I recognize where Launchflows is going. The three type of people you identified. One is the business owner. Two is the, designer, intermediary, I'm good with graphics, whatever. And the third is I have clients who will pay me for technical skills, but I'm smart enough to know I shouldn't build everything from scratch. For all three of those, the goal is still the same: to give them the ability to just see a library of stuff that anybody has made. And you go, "Oh, I love the design of that sales funnel. It looks just like the one Russell Brunson was doing on ClickFunnels. I want that." Okay. If it's available from that author for free, or we put it on for free, great. Just download it, as I'll show you in a second, upload it into your site, and it immediately works. If you're a designer, you could probably make a good living of creating now sales funnels like that as templates instead of building websites. And then finally, if you're an intermediary, what this solves is all of those technical challenges of like, how do I offer to my client? You and I are in this field. How do I offer to my client the same white iPhone that 100 people before them have asked for without making it from scratch, right? It's an online business that sells stuff in a certain way with membership, and everybody wants the same stuff. When you go with this stack and this system, you can just say, here, it's $895. It took me 0 minutes to make because I've just made it for 1,000 people before you, but I can still charge you that same full price because to you, it's still that white iPhone. You don't care if there's a million other people that have it. And so that's the ultimate goal, is WordPress as a system that competes with what ClickFunnels does, using a stack of stuff that's primarily free for anybody of any technical level to use and or build new stuff on that they can sell and share and so forth.
Yeah, I think that's so exciting, isn't it? Because it's definitely for the past 18 months, 2 years, been something that's been really missing, isn't it, in the WordPress ecosystem, hasn't it?
I think the cool thing about WordPress, because you and I have been talking, I've known you for years now, but you've seen my journey through this other stuff, is that WordPress, just like Launchflows, like any other successful plugin before that we've seen, there's always the evolution. We've finally, in 2020, and we talk about it on the WP-Tonic show, we've reached a point where WordPress has the maturity of the products, the ecosystem, the players, that these things are all here now. It was always like there's just one or two key things missing. And as soon as that happened, people wandered off into the Frankenstein world. But now that's no longer necessary. And we also see, from an educational standpoint, that it is not any longer optional for a business owner to be without a sales funnel. And so their choices are now paying ClickFunnels. And by the way, being lost because the support over there is non-existent or very poor and the product is not so great. They just love Russell's advice, which is terrific, but the product isn't so great. Then there's the designers and the intermediaries. We've all lost something when people won't pay to build a pretty website anymore because of the page builders. This is the solution. Now that people have the tools, their thoughts have moved upstream to more valuable, more expensive things you can do for them, which is give me a sales funnel that looks good. Now as a designer, you can do it. Now as an intermediary, you can do it. You just need a little knowledge.
Yeah, I think that's great. Well, I've got to respect Spencer's time. What hopefully Spencer will agree to maybe next month is that we do a webinar which we promote where we can actually utilize, let's say, Lifter with Lifter.
Lifter LMS, sure, for a membership site with.
We'll build out and utilize how we can link it with GroundHogg or with WP-Fussion. We can then actually have a session that shows how we can build those systems and have a drip campaign linked to a learning management system. How does that sound, Spencer?
Well, not only do I love it, but you're even ahead of me on that, because what I was going to say is I was already planning, because this is what I've done in the past. I was planning on reinitiating a certain amount of live events. I don't know if I'm going to go back to my 2 times a week webinars like I did at 1WD, but what I love about your idea is we can put together an entire package where it's essentially like build in the time frame of whatever it is, a half hour, 40 minutes, an hour max. We'll just build the entire business on the fly using the key components you pick. And at the end, the people can end up getting essentially the final product. So,
I leave that to you. But I think with Lifter LMS, with you, my audience, with Lifter LMS, because I'm sure Chris would promote it, and
Absolutely.
with your audience, we get quite a few people actually turning up for the webinar. So it's definitely something we'll discuss, viewers, and we'll keep you posted. We'll probably do that sometime in the middle to the end of March. Give us enough time to get it all organised and promote it so we get a decent audience. But I'm sure that it would be something that a lot of people would find value, wouldn't they, Spencer?
Yeah, and I mean, because again, Lifter is one of the products that we support and use quite frequently when we're dealing with marketing automation questions. One of the things people can understand once you explain it is that you can have a WooCommerce product that you sell that immediately enrolls somebody into a Lifter course. And so once you put that in your head, you realize that it's a very simple thing to say, I just met you, here's my offer, here's click the button to get into this free course. And then you're now in the system where all the other sales funnels things glue it together. And it would be a perfect thing to demonstrate how easy this can be. And yet people are already using most of the tools. So as you said, the Lifter and Elementor and so forth.
So if people want to learn more about what you're up to and that, Spencer, what's the best way?
I would say go to launchflows.com, or for free, go to the facebook.com/group/launchflows. Anybody can join there. If you have any questions at all about marketing automation, about page design, build, anything to do with your online business, it's a great place to look and explore, because if you have a question, I'll answer it, somebody in the group will answer it, and along the way, you'll see how this stack of a few things can be very much useful. And as we just discussed, there's virtually no cost to it. I mean, most of the stuff is free, and we have also a very liberal policy with Launchflows. If you love it, keep it. If you don't, I'll give you your money back. I don't care. There's no problem at all. So this would be a good place to drop by as well. And you can reach me at help@launchflows.com if you want to just email directly.
That's great, Spencer. We'll see you next week where we have another great product, another great guest, or internal discussion between me and Adrian, helping you build a great future with WordPress. We'll see you soon, folks. Bye.
Thanks.